home and experience in the theme park and then go back home are things we are very, very interested in. So, you know, whether it's some of the work we're doing for Hawaii, whether it's some of the work we're doing for future phases of our currently planned expansion, or even coming back to existing attractions, we really are interested in that connection. So whether this one specifically, I'll leave that to the Imagineers, but in general, something we're very interested in.
Great. Eric Jacobsen has just joined us, but I do want to ask, when you do ask a question, make sure you state your name and where you're, who you're covering. So, right here? Yes.
Gina Keating with Reuters.
Hello.
Hi, just a little nuts and bolts question about this expansion in Walt Disney World. Is that CapEx that you're using that you just apply every year towards the park, or will there be additional spending from somewhere else?
Well, our capital expenditures annually, of course, are made up of what we call ongoing capital or recurring capital that is absolutely necessary to maintain the look, feel, and safety of all of our attractions. But when we do something new, of course, that's capital that is beyond recurring capital, but it is something that we generally do every year. Every year we spend capital on new attractions.
So that would fall, and sorry to follow up, that would fall under the money that you already allocate every year. It's not an additional spend.
Yeah, we look at our capital spending over the long haul, you know, we have a general idea based on our own history and based on our own plans how much capital we're going to spend every year, and of course we allocate it to the different parks depending on our expansion plans, and obviously in the next few years some of that will go to the Magic Kingdom Fantasyland.
Can you say how much it will be?
I will. You always ask me that,
yeah.
And it's your favorite question, and I was surprised there were two questions before it, but I won't, as I always say. Spend just enough to make it great. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, sure.
Take it your turn.
I think I'm non-functional yet again. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Martin Sir with Glamorous Life Association. I know that a lot more attention in recent years has been given to giving the backstory to the princesses and giving them more of a 3D appeal. So I was wondering, when is it time for the princesses to have their own blog? To, bring that connection? Yeah, because they could comment and just...
I think that's probably a question better posed to our interactive group than to our Parks and Imagineers, who we all have. I mean, what makes Disney Disney is that everything we do touches all of the ways that we create storytelling, and the online portion really falls under the responsibility of others. But it sure is an interesting idea, and I will pass it along.
It's right here on the side.
Hi, yeah, my name's Sarah Tully. I'm a reporter with the Orange County Register. We'd like to get some more information about Star Tours in Disneyland. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it's going to be like for the guests, what kind of scenes they can expect? Are you going to have the same carriages? Are you going to wear 3D glasses? Can you just give me a few more details about what we expect?
Starting from the back, you are going to wear 3D glasses, as you saw today. All I can tell you is that the Star Tours company is always finding new destinations, and there will be new destinations as part of, as you saw in a little film today, there will be new destinations as part of their new tours. And as we continue to develop that, and we are heavily into development on it, we don't want to give away all the fun today. So we'll hold a couple of surprises.
What about the carriages themselves? Are you going to replace them with new ones? Is it going to be the same kind of movement?
There are going to be a lot of physical changes to the attraction itself, but fundamentally, the simulator technology will stay in place to tell that story.
Staying on this side.
Yes.
What took so long to finally get Star Tours changed?
Everything, it's like a great wine. Everything comes at its time. This is the right time.
Thank you, Orson Welles. Yes, it was.
Dawn Gillespie, LA Times. Jay, I'm wondering if you could describe for us the nature of your interaction with George Lucas in developing and updating the Star Tours ride. Thank you.
Daily, intense, and creating incredible output. Ever since, of course, we did our original Star Tours attraction with George. The relationship with Imagineering has been very, very close. We've worked on many, many projects, some of which, as is always the case, didn't end up coming to fruition. But the collaboration with George and his developers is extremely close. We strive for authenticity in what we do. This is, a Lucas idea. This is Lucas storytelling interpreted by Imagineering, and the collaboration is extremely close. And I mean every effect, every minute, every part of the storytelling is a complete collaboration, and one that we are thrilled with.
Front row.
Deborah Martin Como with Allers.net. About the Fantasyland expansion, you're doing more princesses and fairies. Are you doing anything to boys, little boys?
Yeah, I know when you say the word princess, you immediately think of little girls. And you know what? I think we're really making great strides to broaden the appeal to not just little girls, not just little boys, but families in general. Some of the early play tests that we've had, or some of the explorations that we've had at Imagineering, have really, I think, really been great to show how we can take those classic stories from those films, which really appeal to everyone. They have dragons and princes and sword fights, and there's great villains in every one of those films. And so when we say it's a princess experience, you're going to get more than just the ball gown dress and the princess in the room. We're really, I think, excited about kind of making it an attraction for everyone. So that goes, I think, throughout the complete expansion as we get through development.
I was also saying in some of the upcoming fairies movie franchises, there are more characters that appeal to boys, not just fairies. Well, there are toy fairies too, but and they're situation things. So we're really trying to make sure it's balanced, as Chris said, for the whole family, so everybody has a great time.
Great. In the back against the wall.
Yes, my name is Jim Manning. I'm from a website called MoviePropCollectors.com. And I spoke to Bob Iger the other day, and he said they're always finding pieces of props and costumes from the original films, a lot of the older classic Disney films. Do you know if they're going to expand on maybe trying to incorporate some of the things as some sort of a display, or add to things that they have in the park, or could they maybe think about doing that?
I don't know that we're working on any of that directly. I mean, we have a regular program at the Disney Hollywood Studios where we try to use props and set pieces and so on that are of great interest to our fans and fans of the films, and we'll of course continue to do that. I don't know.
Well, we have an attraction called One Man's Dream at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Orlando, and that's a tribute to Walt Disney and his life and his life work, and we are constantly updating that, and we're thinking about a major renovation coming up in the unannounced future, where we'll feature a lot of new artifacts and things that haven't been seen before by the Orlando audience anyway, so we're always looking for places to do that, and particularly costumes is also another big thing that we display in Florida.
And a couple more questions directed towards Jay. He's got a tight schedule and will need to leave, so if you have a question for Jay, it's Reuters.
Yes. Jay, could you give us any update on what's going on with Shanghai, like how those discussions are going with the central government?
Well, I don't have any new news to tell you today. I'm sure you know that we have submitted an application with the municipality of Shanghai to the central government and await approval of that submission. And until such time as we hear something back from that, we won't have any additional news to share with you.
Is everything going all right? I mean, there's no holdup or anything. It's just, that you know of, it's just a bureaucratic waiting time. No conflict or political problems like what TV had with Russia.
There's no issues that we know of.
Okay, one more question for Jay. In the back, in the left.
Hi, Jay. Ed Wada. I'm a former business writer for USA Today and the Orange County Register. I'm writing a book now on business and globalization and was hoping to get your quick thoughts